Hey guys, today is Thursday, March 18th, 2021, and we're just doing a quick look at a news article that came out today, and I thought it was a little bit relevant to the upcoming potential federal election and how well the Conservatives will do. And so, try not to be too controversial here, but obviously this is a controversial issue. But yes, as you can see, the article title is that the abortion issue is off the table as Conservatives launch pre-election policy convention. So what we're talking about here is pretty much the Conservative Party. They have a platform, or they're going to have a platform for the next election, and they've leadership, Erin O'Toole, pretty much, and people around him pretty much decided that abortion will not be part of it. And, I think overall this is probably a very smart move. A lot of people commenting on this. But nevertheless, I think in general, if you are the Conservative Party and you want to win the next election against Justin Trudeau, this is probably the right move to do. And this is not to say whether or not you have views on this particular subject. But it's worth looking at the totals, or the regional distribution for Canada. Not just here, but also I have the election results fully. Yeah, here's the election atlas, federally speaking, right? So an issue like abortion is a social conservative issue. We can all agree on that. That's an issue that, Erin O'Toole, personally, I believe he's pro-choice. But nevertheless, Erin O'Toole has decided it's not going to be a big issue for him. Now, the people who care about that issue are not necessarily in the space where Erin O'Toole needs to win. So this is a big issue. This was an issue, I believe Andrew Scheer was pro-life, and throughout the 2019 election, I don't believe the Conservatives actually had any policy on this, so it's not really a change from that. But, the Liberals especially would endlessly hammer Andrew Scheer at the time for basically having these personal positions on abortion and same-sex marriage that didn't line up with the current law of the country, and, the fear that he would change those laws should he be in power. This is a very, not necessarily, you could say it's an unfair weapon, but it's also an effective campaigning weapon based on how the results came in. And we'll see here, though, this is... These are the ridings out west, and I mentioned this in a previous video. You can just see the margins here are ridiculous, like 79% of the vote there. This one's closer, 42, but like we're going out here, we're looking 80%, 83%, 82%. These are high numbers, and they're going to win those places guaranteed. Those are the parts of the country that care more about these social conservative issues. Now, those attacks on Scheer, they landed mostly in Ontario. Ontario voters, you could argue Doug Ford obviously played a role in this election, or, during this election he was nowhere to be found. But the general malaise for Doug Ford did play a role, but also this campaigning on the social issues was really targeted in this part of the country here. And it did lead to the Liberals making these small victories. You see here, they're only winning 38%, 43%. They lost Durham here, but look, they got Nipissing up here, 40%. This is 38%. These are not very big victories here. 42%, 35%. These are small but significant victories they do in Ontario, and that counts up all the seats there pretty much. They do a lot better, obviously, out west here, it looks like. But still, these are not huge blowouts like we saw in the west. So this is what voting efficiency is all about. And, if we know these parts of Canada are more socially liberal, but we know they vote PC, so the appeal has to be to this group here. And so regardless of whether the Conservative Party has a solid position on a controversial issue like abortion or not, we can be fairly certain that these ridings in Alberta will not be swayed by this particular issue. So that's just the way I look at this. I'm sure there's other ways people feel about this, but I'm just looking strictly at the politics of it. It makes sense for them not to have a real position on the abortion issue. We'll have to see if the Liberals will continue to make that attack, though. Regardless, I think it's fair to say that they'll find something else in the details that will make that the case. But you can see the way the Conservative Party is kind of preparing itself, kicking out Derek Sloan, for example, who was a very far-right member of the party. This kind of attitude shows that they're really trying to gear themselves towards winning this part of Ontario back, kind of reflecting the Doug Ford vote in 2018. So we'll see how that goes. Thanks a lot for listening.